Ready, set, go.
Yeah, whole team on a loose. Kick it up like Kung Fu. Untamed, yeah, cool. Running plays like who knew. Hella fast when I slide through. You would've thought we was in a zoo. Engine roar like a lion do. Devil, I'm a damn fool. Switching lanes, hanging out the roof. Tires screech when I bend the corner. All you see is a big poof. Then I'm leaving my initials. Street marks, I'm official. Taking off like a missile. You can hear the wind whistle.
Yeah, I don't think they ready. I don't really think they want it. I don't think they ready. Hey, yeah, I don't think they ready. I don't really think they want it. I don't think they ready. Ready, set, go. 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 Ready, set, go. Go. Yeah, ready, set, go.
Get into it like pronto, get hit with a combo. Do it large, real jumbo, so dirty like gumbo. Big money in a two-seater, hair blowing, you see her. I got her, you need her, never would I wanna be her. And I've been grinding all of my life. Now look at my sights, mile high, I'm fly. Ride till I die, look how I arrive. Like the president inside, see the look in their eyes.
I don't think they ready. I don't really think they want it. I don't think they ready. Yeah, I don't think they ready. I don't really think they want it. I don't think they ready. Ready, set, go.
Ready, set, go, let's go. Go, on your mark, go. Yeah,
Ready, set, go.
ready, set, go. On your mark, go, let's go. Go,
Yeah, ready, set, go.
Yeah, and you know I like big coupes. Two-seater with the missing roof. Run a meter to a can't boot. I'm the best, got them all mute. Break the bank, talking big loot. Business talk, making big moves. Full tank, no I can't lose. Left them in the dust confused. All I ever did was break rules. Full throttle, I don't like cruise. Guess I got a couple screws loose. Son devil, I'm a damn fool. Ain't no telling what I might do. Taking off like a missile. Street marks, I'm official.
Yeah, I don't think they ready. I don't really think they want it. I don't think they ready. Hey, yeah, I don't think they ready. I don't really think they want it. I don't think they ready. Ready, set, go.
ready, set, go, let's go. Go, on your mark, go. Yeah,
Ready, set, go.
ready, set, go. On your mark, go, let's go. Go, let's go.
Ready, set, go.
Go, go,
Go. Ready, set, go.
go,
Yeah, ready, set, go. Go. Yeah, ready, set, go.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ward Radio live stream. I am your host, Carden Ellis, and today I am joined in the studio by a very special guest. It's his first time in studio. We've been to his place many a time, but this is the first time he's come on our turf. Welcome, Reid Moon, to the Ward Radio Wigwam.
Great to be here.
You know, you look awesome, just always surrounded by books. No matter where you go, you just look like your rare bookstore. For those of you that may not be familiar with Reid Moon is, in my opinion, the premier collector of rare books, especially religious texts in North America, specializing in Mormon relics, artifacts. I don't know how you would describe
books,
them.
documents, artifacts.
Yeah, books, documents, artifacts. And he's here to do some viewings for some clients, some customers. He buys, sells, trades in all of the above. And he agreed to swing by the studio and to give us a rundown on some of the really, really cool stuff that he's come up with recently and some acquisitions, some of the history behind it, educate us on the history behind these things. I'm really excited. Some of these things I feel like I've seen before in some past episodes. Like I see we got Spencer W. Kimball's scriptures there when he was wrestling with overturning the Curse of Cain doctrine. If I'm not mistaken, I see a Kirtland Safety Society note right there. That's looking familiar, right? Hopefully we'll record something about that a little bit later. But what's everything else, man? Let's just dive right in.
So I travel with this assortment. I mean, it is everything. Of course, we have church history items, first edition copy of the Book of Mormon, first edition Doctrine and Covenants, first edition Pearl of Great Prize, other cool documents, Mother Teresa, Einstein, Nikola Tesla.
Okay.
I think we want to know what people want to talk about because I have a little bit, we can't cover everything, so we got to narrow it down. Napoleon, the Pope, the previous Pope.
Okay, hold on. What do you got of the Pope? Okay, I'm casting my vote first.
Okay.
What do you got of the Pope? What do you got of the Pope?
Well, biggest story last year is the death of Pope Francis.
Yeah, okay.
And so people would ask me, oh, do you have anything Pope Francis? And it's like his zucchetto, like his cap? Yes, I have.
Oh, you
the
just straight up
Pope's.
took it out. Wow.
Yes. Now
How did you get so it's called a zucchetto.
Zucchetto.
Now that's, I assume, just the Italian, not
That's
the Latin,
Italian.
right?
That's
Okay.
the Italian. In fact, it has a certificate of authenticity that says this certifies that this zucchetto was worn by His Holiness Pope Francis, February 2014. That's the first year of his papacy. Now, I acquired this about a decade ago because I have some connections in Rome.
Whoa. Okay, so hold on. So it surprises me they're selling it, but it also doesn't because
Who said it was sold?
oh, okay. So
Who said it wasn't gifted?
oh yeah, okay. Wow, those are some really good connections in Rome then. Because I was gonna say, I know congressmen can request a flag that was flown over. Congress can request a flag that was flown over the Capitol building to be given to. I got one when I got my Boy Scout, my Eagle Scout. Sometimes when people, receive graduates, it's like one of those gifts that a congressman can give. But I also met one time, I can't remember if it was like the lead maintenance guy for like the Capitol Police or something is the one that runs the flag up and takes it down and documents. And he said sometimes they get so many requests that there's not enough different flags from different days that they actually have to purposely just run up a flag and then take it back down and say this flew over the Capitol building on September 7th, 2017, and then run up another one and then just document it. So like, is the Pope's hat kind of like that? Like, do a lot get gifted out or?
Not a lot. In fact, you can go online and see where the Pope is walking by several people and a little 2-year-old snagged a zucchetto. He didn't say, oh, that's so cute. It's like, give it back.
Yeah,
No,
wow.
those just aren't handed
I remember there was that one time we started smacking the lady that was trying to grab him and hold him. It must be tough being a pope. But wow. So is it like disrespectful to put it on?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Dang it. I was about to say, dude, I don't want to try it, but I mean, I don't want to do something, all the Catholics would think was bad. So, okay, wow, so gifted. Intriguing. Are there any other religious leaders out there who have something similar, like a zucchetto? Like, I'm thinking the Dalai Lama doesn't really have any headgear, and he's not going to take off his little robe. We don't want the poor guy walking around naked, right? Who else is there? There's no real... Protestantism doesn't have a pope. What are you going to do? Take the suit off of Dallin H. Oaks, like his suit coat? That is kind of a very interesting thing that
Yeah, it's very identifiable. I mean, you see that, you know who it is worldwide.
Okay, then my last vote before people start here saying what they were looking for. I want to know Napoleon. This is a shout out to friend of the show, Cody Como. He is a huge Napoleon buff. And we have actually considered going on a 1-week vacation to St. Helena together just as a bro trip. The only problem is there's a boat that goes in and you're stuck for a week. When you go to St. Helena, you're stuck for a week. So we were thinking about maybe going to some European battlefields. What is this thing about Napoleon that you got going on, dude?
So, when Napoleon is exiled for the final time on this island out in the middle of the Atlantic, it's difficult to get there today, much less 200 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, one family member went to visit him, his stepdaughter from the first marriage, Hortense.
Okay.
She went to visit him, spent some time there, and she knew this would, in all reality, would be her last visit. And she wanted something to remember her father by. I have the gift given by Napoleon to our tents right here in your studio.
Yeah, and it's...
What is it? Well, first of all, you say, how do we know what it is? Well, as close as you get to a notarized affidavit, here is her seal.
Whoa,
right here. That's
look
her
at
seal.
that. Okay,
and then
okay.
it's written saying, this was given to me by my father on the 20th of May, 1820. And you go, what is it? Napoleon's hair.
Whoa. Here, let me see that.
And you can see it's a hint
Oh,
of
it's
red.
just
It's like
3 or 4 strands.
Yeah, I think it's more like 8, but
or 8 strands. Yeah, wow. And so this was her seal, and this is just a little piece of cardboard.
yeah, and it's sewn on there. It's stitched.
Oh my goodness, you're right. Look at that. So you're right. It kind of looks like redheadish.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to make it so the audience can see here. Let me tilt that up. There we go a little bit. Yeah, and then it's stitched. You can see the little stitching. Was that really common? They would just stitch it like that?
Well, think about it. I mean, no real tape.
Oh,
there would have
yeah.
been glue, but glue is a little...
It's going to ruin it.
Yeah. So that is actually stitched on there.
You know what? You just made me think. When was tape invented?
I think that's more like 3M. I mean, 1940s.
Yeah, so much of what we have here now is just post-war. We figured out this adhesive works because we tried to keep planes in the sky in a faster way, and then now we ended up coming up with office supplies. But yeah, tape is so interesting too, though, because the tape adhesive it's acidic, so it goes bad over time, though, right?
Yeah. You see that all the time on old documents where that tape, the acid is just eaten through it.
Yeah,
and it's
it makes like
irreversible.
orange or yellowish, right?
Yep.
Oh, whoops!
And
Press
then
the wrong button.
dries and cracks.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. Hey, okay, so guys, what do you guys want to see next? We're just having fun here with Reid Moon, just checking everything out, and he's just going through his bag. Let's just go from top to bottom. What you think is the coolest, and we'll go. I mean, I'm getting so many questions here. Can you clone Napoleon? Nope, this isn't Jurassic Park. Is Cardin growing a summer beard? No, I'm just trying to be able to give some of my hair to Reid Moon's hair collection. You got Abraham Lincoln in there now too, right? Joseph Smith, Abraham Lincoln, George
Brigham
Washington, Brigham Young.
I have Brigham Young.
That's a long beard.
No, I have not his beard, but hair.
Wow. Okay. Do you have Dallin H. Oaks hair, or was it just too late for him by then?
Too late.
That's kind of funny. Sorry. Nobody clipped that. Nobody sent that to the church office building. Then DJ Lanton says, why do you always put Kwaku in the thumbnail when he's not even here? Yes, he is late, but he will be here, at least from what he told me on the phone. He's finishing up dinner and will show up. Better late than never, right? So anyway, yeah, let's just start from top to bottom, dude. Tell us what you got, man.
Well, okay. I have a letter written by Mother Teresa.
Okay. So what's the deal with Mother Teresa? Like, are we supposed to hate her or love her now? I don't know if this is another one of those like just stupid cancel culture things where just anybody famous, they say that there's a secret dark side too. Or like what? What's the deal with Mother Teresa? Why is she in the news again like 20 years later?
Well, I don't know that I can answer that, but I can tell you, just as somebody who studied her life, she deserves to be remembered.
Really?
She changed the world, and when you think of somebody who has given their life, she's at the top of the... I mean, there's always going to be haters. I thought when I did social media, I was safe doing Mother Teresa, but yeah, they came out saying, oh, she was a horrible woman or whatever. But I think, like anybody, I mean, she maybe had her own faith crisis, but you look at the overall, what they did, she did good. She was in the trenches.
Yeah.
she was in the trenches with the poorest of the poor. In fact, one of the most, she did not come into the world stage until the 1970s. She spoke at the United Nations in 1975. And when she went to the United Nations, she was not impressed.
Really?
She was not impressed because it was like 2 or 3 hours of meetings and then like 21, 22 hours of people getting drunk and having parties. And this was offensive to her. How do we know that? Because I have the letter that she wrote after that.
Dude, if you're dogging on the inefficiency of the UN at resulting in a positive influence on the world, I am all... She's canonized in my book now. Okay, so what would you say in the letter? Is that the letter that you got? Or?
It's a different letter, but I'll tell you what's in this letter because I've collected a few of her letters. So this letter, a friend, a man named Mr. Wagner, he arranged for her visit on behalf of the Missionaries of Charity, which was her organization. And he wrote back and said, so how do you, and they meet in October. And so it's like, so what do you think? In her letter that she wrote, I read it a few times, but it stuck with me that I literally have that letter memorized. She said this, dear Mr., and see if you can get her being nice about saying they're a bunch of wicked fools, you know?
Okay, yeah.
So she goes, dear Mr. G.G. Wagner, many thanks for your kind letter of 11/11/75. I'm glad you were happy that all went well at the United Nations. However, I felt like a fish out of water in that crowd of businessmen and world leaders, and I never feel like that with crowds much greater but closer of our kind, the lepers, the dying, the unwanted, the helpless, the unloved, the lonely. Thank you for inviting me, for I now have a better understanding of the rich who day after day have to accept the role of entertaining and being entertained. Their gatherings need the presence of Jesus very much. Happy and Holy Christmas and God's blessings in 1975. Pray for me as I do for you. God bless you, Mother Teresa.
Wow. So you obviously have that memorized. What made you memorize it? Just because you had it for so long, or you just...
Well, I have it and I read it, and if I read something, it kind of sticks with me, and so that's just something that I have.
No, that's a great gift, man. That's kind of cool. You know what? This kind of begs a question here.
Well, and like it's been months since I've said that, but it's just there.
Like,
it's just there.
Have you noticed in your profession of collection, have you noticed that a certain skill has developed? Besides like business skills of, I don't know, negotiation or something. Like, do you notice... I can't remember the general authority, but there was famously the general authority that said if you memorize a scripture every single day in 90 days, you'll have a photographic memory or something like that, because the brain's neural pathways are very interesting and unique and can be retrained and so on and so forth. Have you noticed that the unique skill set of buying and selling modern artifacts and relics and rare books and so on and so forth, that you've had a skill develop in that process?
Well, I will go back to when I was 18, I received a blessing that promised me that it basically promised me that I would be able to retain everything that I read if I would use it for good, basically to teach.
Oh, wow.
And so if I'm
really?
going to get that blessing, I'll take advantage of it. So.
Dude, awesome. Wouldn't it be kind of nice if we could just trade like parts of our patriarchal blessing? It's like, I like that part. I could use that part in your patriarchal blessing more in my life. It's like when you were a kid at the cafeteria, like, I'll trade you my yogurt for your fruit snacks or something like that. Because I got to tell you, post chemo brain, I would die to have my memory back. I used to be very acute like you, but post chemo, that was it's coming back. It's coming back. But that was definitely something that I remember and is missed. So, okay, what's something else recent you got going on here, man?
Well, there are all of these mysteries out there and conspiracy theories, and we're still talking about a woman who flew around the world and disappeared.
Amelia Earhart.
Amelia Earhart.
Yeah, one of the last places she was here in Los Angeles at a couple of places downtown. In fact, one of my buddies bought a house and he's got a picture of her, Charlie Chaplin, and like Buster Keaton and W.C. Fields like all playing cards together the year before she disappeared. Yeah, that's like one of the great unsolved mysteries.
Well, so it's like 30 legs around the world, and most people don't remember there was somebody with her. She had a navigator with her, so there were 2 people on the plane who disappeared.
Yeah.
And nobody knows the name, and unfortunately I can't tell you his name either, but like leg 28 is when they disappear. They're like leaving the Philippines and they're going to Howarth Island, and it's a small island, so a Coast Guard ship says, we will signal you in, we will be there. A Coast Guard ship called the Itasca.
Okay.
And she disappears, but from there she's supposed to go to Hawaii, and then Hawaii back to California. But the Coast Guard ship, the Itasca, is there. And her last words are like, I feel like I'm right on top of you. And that's it. Well, so the Itasca sends out, well, first, I have original photographs of Amelia Earhart right here.
Oh, those are the originals.
These are original. The one in back, the color one is not.
Okay,
These are original photographs of her.
Okay.
Prior to the trip.
Yeah.
But on the back, I have the cable from the Itasca saying we have lost Amelia Earhart. That's the original.
Oh, my grandpa was in the Coast Guard then. Oh my gosh, official dispatch. Yeah, and you can tell. Can I touch it inside?
Yeah.
You can tell because back then they would make it so thin for airmail.
Yeah.
You can feel how thin it is. It's like it's literally like
onion
rice
skin.
paper.
Onion skin.
Is that what it's called? Is onion skin? Okay, I don't want to screw it up. But
look at that. July 4th, 1937. We're still talking about her. 90 years later.
1937. Oh, that was such a great year. Like that was in many ways in my mind kind of peak American society, except for obviously stupid Jim Crow stuff. I think culture kind of, I wouldn't say peaked, but golden age of radio, film was just getting cool. They just barely developed color. You know, that was when the Wizard of Oz was coming out and everything. But wow, here it is so here's the ship from the Itasca for headquarters, and it says priority. Yeah, for Secretary Morgenthau, quote, no information. Earhart plane since 0843, 2nd of July period, heard faint signals between 1825 and 1858. Oh my goodness gracious. Why was everything printed in all caps back then? Do you know?
Just easier. Just very legible.
Just most legible. Okay. Wow. So,
I mean, that's a total museum piece, but then again, tell people we're a bookstore disguised as a museum.
Yeah, I was about going to say, how did this one fall into private hands? It's kind of like when you got the Oppenheimer documents.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how does all of a sudden Reid Moon have declassified atomic originals, right? Yeah. So how does this end up? Because, I mean, I know you deal in obviously only legitimate sales and the provenance is unimpeachable and so on and so forth. But it does beg the question is like, okay, how did the official onion skin from the U.S. Coast Guard end up in your vault less than 100 years later, right?
Yeah. What happens is a lot of the people with the Coast Guard or whatever, they just kept them. The Oppenheimer, the Manhattan Project documents get declassified, and then they surface, typically out of the families connected. Okay,
cool. All right. Well, what's funny is I was expecting the first super chat here to be for you, but it ends up being for us. I'm flattered. Holy smoke. We just got a super chat here from, let me put this back up on the screen so everybody can see. Oh, we got 2 of them. The first one I saw is from Chase East something. It says, hi, Ward Radio. Y'all are studs. I'm so thankful for your content. It kept my testimony strong in a very unique way. Awesome. You're a stud, Chase. And just recently I got engaged. Do you all want an invitation? Well, heck yes, I do. In fact, send us an invitation right now through our website. And if I can pull it up and I remember, and I see it before the live stream's over, we'll give you a shout out. I'm sure you have a lovely bride and you're about to embark in the greatest adventure of your life, my man. Congratulations. That's what it's all about, brother. And then Grork. What's up, Grork? How you doing, man? Says Reid's bookstore is an amazing place. I wish I could return, but after my last visit, my wife said I can't go back anymore.
Yeah, that happens.
Oh, that really?
Well, they break the bank.
Oh,
and then
brutal,
they go, yeah, no more for you.
Brutal, no more for you. So I'm curious. You know, all the time comedians are joking about, like, you know, women being the spendthrift. There's too many Amazon packages at the front door, so on and so forth. But like in my marriage, for example, Brittany's very disciplined. She hates spending money. She just does not like it. She's not cheap, but she doesn't like outward flow of money. She likes inward flow of money. She's just, I wouldn't even say thrifty or frugal, but just, you know, I'm much more comfortable taking risks, saying, hey, you know, let's invest in something like, I don't know, a Kirtland Safety Society note or a Book of Mormon. Oh, for heaven's sakes, if I would have bought a $50,000 Book of Mormon from you
when we first
7 years ago when we first met, that thing would be going for practically $500,000 now, right? So I'm much more like, oh, hey, you know, let's try this. Let's take this risk, so on and so forth. She's not that way. Would you say that your store, I'm really curious, YouTube's 80% male, 20% female. Instagram is 70% female, 30% male. So obviously YouTube is a much more male-dominated platform. Instagram, much more female-dominated platform. And so the social behaviors on both platforms are different. Are the majority of your customers male or female, or is it an even split?
Let's look it up.
You got that data.
Well, it gives it to you. So I'm going to look right here.
Okay.
What's your guess?
I would guess male 70-30, because you're probably also selling to other brokers, which I assume is male dominated. So I'd guess 70-30 male to female. And then I want to know who is more spendthrifty, the dudes or the girls when they come in general.
Well, first of all, the breakdown on my viewership is 43% women.
Almost 50. Oh, is that on Instagram or TikTok?
That's Instagram.
Okay, so you're
and 57 men, 57.
Okay. But on a female-dominated platform, that's still overperforming on men. So, okay, did they give you that stat on TikTok or no?
Not easily.
Oh, okay. No. Then if it's not easy, still that's interesting. Okay, so you're right down the middle. Okay, that's kind of cool. Also, do generally higher-priced items, are girls more interested in higher-priced items or lower-priced items?
They're typically more frugal, the lower price.
Interesting.
If we break down sales at our bookstore, sales under $100 is going to be 80% women.
Okay, interesting.
And high-end sales is going to be 80% men.
Okay,
that's just
they're trophy hunting, is what they're doing. Okay, wow, that's kind of cool.
But I do have men come in all the time that are in the doghouse that need a really spectacular gift.
And well, you don't have enough Jane Austen books for all of them, right?
No, but that is a go-to, Jane Austen.
Really? Well,
in fact, I had a guy come in. He goes,
a first edition Jane Austen's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can get what's called the Peacock edition for $5,000 to $10,000, or you can get a copy that's 1890s for $1,000, or you can just get one of our pretty copies if you are on a budget for $30. So we've got every. I had a guy come in. I said, I'm in trouble. I need Jane Austen. I said, what's your budget? I said, what about this? More. Oh, I can't do the first edition, but he settled on the $7,500 Peacock edition, which is just a stunning copy. But speaking of Jane Austen, we do have a first edition of Pride and Prejudice in the room.
Okay, cool. All right. Jeez, that's like Western relic right there.
This is first edition is 3 volumes, but right there, Pride and Prejudice is a novel in 3 volumes. This is one 1813. First edition of this goes for about $200,000. All the 3 volumes.
Wow.
Half of what a first edition Book of Mormon goes for.
That's so intriguing. Why is that? Is it just rarity, or is it
It's supply and demand and
impact?
rarity.
Okay. Wow. What is the status of the Book of Mormon in the private? Like, what's the interest now? Is the interest mostly driven? Is the market mostly driven by members of the church? Because members of our church are unique, and we actually
Yeah. Well, Mormons collect their history more than any other religion, but because I have religious artifacts from every denomination, and I get asked by people.
more than Catholics. I
Yes.
feel like they're
No,
pretty
100%.
esoteric.
No, they are.
Really?
But Catholics are pretty high, but it plays out based on what they're willing to pay and how many people want the artifacts. And I would say sales of first edition copies of the Book of Mormon is at least 95% members of the church. And there are an inordinate amount of members who can drop $250,000, $500,000 on a book. And
Wow.
so that is what's driving the price, because 1950, a copy is $50. 1960, a first edition copy of the Book of Mormon is $100. It hit $1,000 in 1970, $3,000 in 1980, $5,000 in 1990. But then .com boom, it went from 5,000 to 75,000 in 10 years. That was the first run. 9/11 hits, it drops down to 50. Nobody was in the mood to collect for like a year. Then,
Really?
yes, copies came on the market, people panicked, nobody's buying.
Wow.
I picked a very
okay.
bad time to buy a bunch of books on a credit card because nobody was buying. Then nobody's paying attention, and from 2001 to 2007, it goes from 50,000 to 100,000. President Hinckley, in conference, mentions the price of a first edition Book of Mormon. He says, I recently saw a copy of the first edition Book of Mormon sell for $100,000. But you can get the same message in the $2 copy. But everybody heard that and they go, oh my gosh, I want one. And then for the next few months, it's a feeding frenzy and it's well over 100,000. But then what happens 2008, 9, 10? Worldwide meltdown. And families are having to sell the copies that never wanted to. And in 3 years, 200 first edition copies of the Book of Mormon came to the market. But the price never went below 60,000 in the big meltdown. And then gradually it worked its way back up to 100, 150, 200. Now, this past year, it's just accelerated. And now copies are selling for 300,000 plus. I mean, and just a good copy that has a few dings is $250,000 to 300,000. But premium copies start adding hundreds of thousands. And then if it's a notable person's copy, it goes from there.
What is the most valuable Book of Mormon?
I think the Hiram Smith copy. There's not for sure 100% peer-reviewed, yes, this is Joseph Smith's copy, right?
Wait, but I've seen you have copies of Joseph Smith. It's got his book plate in
That's
there.
a third edition. I'm talking first edition right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking first edition.
Okay. Is there a second or a third edition Book of Mormon that is more expensive than the first edition?
Yes, the first Liverpool edition. Well, not if it's a plain copy. It has to belong to somebody.
Okay.
Like Hiram Smith's copy that was a Liverpool edition that is referred to in Elder Holland stock is going to be a very valuable book. You know, just people appreciate that story. But that's worth more than a first edition copy of the Book of Mormon just because of the story of the book. The provenance can, be a multiplier in value.
Okay, yeah. So the most expensive copy of the Book of Mormon right now assuming we don't stumble upon Joseph Smith's personal copy
Yeah.
that he was taking notes on and saying, I remember when I saw Moroni and translated this verse with Oliver Cowdery or whatever. The most expensive copy of the Book of Mormon is Hiram Smith's. Now, I assume it's the one that you own, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What is
But it's not for sale.
No,
But,
I
yeah.
get it. It's part of your permanent collection.
Yeah.
What's the most expensive one you've seen that's not permanent collection, but just bought and sold? And like, has there been one that sold for over $1 million and why?
I have not seen a first edition sell for more than $1 million.
Because the ones that are like
The
Hiram
ones that-
Smith's, how would you price that? It's
Yeah.
priceless.
Yeah.
It'd be more than $1 million a heartbeat, you
Yeah.
know, 10, 20, 30 million or whatever, but I'm not going to sell it. So it's kind of silly to ask even.
Well, here's the thing. There are copies out there that I know have sold in the past that if they were to surface and come to market, like Neil K. Whitney's copy, W.W. Phelps' copy, Orson Hyde's copy, these copies have been out there. If they were to come to market today, they would be highly sought after, and there would be a lot of competition.
Why those ones?
Well, because they have a cool backstory. I mean, it's all about if Oliver Cowdery's copy surfaced, if Emma Smith's copy surfaced.
Now, why would Oliver Cowdery's? Is it because of something specific with the book, or is it just because it's Oliver Cowdery?
It's Oliver Cowdery, isn't it?
Okay.
That's about he's sitting there writing it down.
Yeah, he's the scribe of
Yeah.
Joseph Smith. Emma Smith was a scribe. Oliver Cowdery was a scribe. Martin Harris was a scribe for a while, right? If I remember correctly. Or am I wrong?
I think partial, yeah.
Okay, cool. Wow, that's intriguing. And then I saw in a recent showing of yours, somebody said, what is your white whale? And you had said, obviously lost 116 pages. Who isn't? That was Mark Hoffman's ultimate forgery he was going for as well, right? But then I think you said the Bible that Joseph Smith read when he found James 1:5.
Yes.
What do you think that? Okay, who do you think had it? Where do you think it would have been, or how it would be found if it does get found? And then how much do you think that would be worth if it were found?
Well, first of all, it would have the family genealogy in it. It would realistically be from the 1790s when they were married, because that was just very typical for families to get Bibles. And it would be in the millions. It would be in the millions if it was like the Smith family copy and it had births, deaths, records, everything. That would have been in the family, but nobody knows where it is today. I mean, no church claims it. No Smith family members claim it, but that would be a fun one to see.
Wow. Okay, man, they don't claim it.
The thing is, a lot of these, believe me, I'd like them to show, but there is a monetary factor that drives, is a consideration for people. Because sometimes a lot of people I've found, they sell things for three reasons. One, and I'm going to say it's only about 10%, sell them purely for the money. Like, they just want the money. They don't care.
Okay.
They just want the money. About half sell them because they have one cool book and 6 kids, and they don't want to cause a fight with the siblings fighting over who gets the first edition copy of the Book of Mormon. That happens all the time. I will get a copy.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It happens.
That's intriguing.
Yeah. Me
and my sister have that. Actually, it's kind of funny. It's already been settled, but it's a joke in our family now. But there was a grandfather clock made by a specific woodworker, very popular in the craftsman era in the early 20th century, named Gustav Stickley. And there's a specific type of grandfather clock that always would be chiming in our house, and I liked it. I always thought it was soothing to have just like a grandfather clock there, and it was a mission style grandfather clock, which was consistent with all of our other furniture growing up. And it's kind of a very Southern California kind of Pasadena type thing. And so whenever my sister was well behaved and I wasn't, or she did something really good and it was in favor with my parents, she'd be like, I get the clock, as like some kind of, who's going to inherit the clock from my parents. But I never really thought of, what do you do with the single book if, holy smoke, well, then you just got to go with the firstborn. That's just like, you just got to go ancient Israelite on them, right? So they just liquidate it and then they spread the money around instead of.
That happens several times a year. I mean, the parents flat out tell me, I don't want my kids fighting over it. Wow. Especially now that it's known that it's a 6-figure book. So.
Wow. And it's kind of odd, though, because there's something really beautiful and flattering and cool about a monetary value being assigned to a relic that you, that is your religion, because money is a barometer of a civilization, as it says in Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. And so obviously the monetary value of something shows to a certain extent its esteem in society. And we all want things of our faith to be esteemed highly. So part of you thinks like, it's awesome that a first edition copy of the Book of Mormon is selling for $350K now, $400K, $500K. At the same time, it's also kind of a little bit sad because it's now becoming inaccessible and is more open to being cynically traded by people who are not as invested in it, whereas somebody that's invested in it might think like, oh, dude, this is a first edition copy of the Book of Mormon. Like, this is awesome. So,
well, I make a conscious decision not to sell to people who their goal is to turn around and just flip it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I definitely, if I want books to go to the best location possible where a story will continue to be told. And I've dealt with people who say, I want a good investment. I said, I don't sell investments. I can tell you where the price has been, but I'm not selling this as an investment.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And it's kind of a turnoff where people, that's their motivation.
Okay, cool, sweet. Hey, we just got Kwaku in the studio. What's up?
Hello.
Oh, shoot, I didn't put your microphone on. It's right here, I believe. Now try it out.
All right, great.
Hey, there we go. Sweet dulcet tones from Kwaku. Well, somebody was just lampooning us a little bit saying, why'd you put Kwaku on the thumbnail when he's not here?
I am here. I'm here.
He was having dinner. Did
you say Thai?
It was Thai, but they were taking too long, and so it ended up refunding me and just giving me spring rolls. So I didn't really even have dinner. It was a massive disappointment. So
spring rolls.
Yes, so, like the little.
Could have gone to the gas station for spring rolls.
Yeah, but you don't want any kind of gas station Asian food.
Yeah.
Gas station sushi. You were risking your life every time you eat that. I saw a couple people grabbing that gas station sushi from Maverick, and I'm like, you must have great insurance.
Yeah.
Phenomenal medical. You're still in Obamacare or something, because there's no way anyone else is risking. Be careful, man.
Oh, that's funny. Well, he's just showing off his wares and everything he's got right now.
We've done Mother Teresa, Napoleon, Amelia Earhart.
Amelia, isn't it true that she probably was eaten by those crabs?
Crabs finish off everything.
Yeah. I heard.
Really?
Never trust a man with a crab farm or a pig farm.
Wait, crabs eat everything?
They clean the ocean.
Whoa, I had no idea. Now, I thought she was found by the Japanese. And there was that picture of her on that dock, and people think that she was taken by the Japanese.
Kind of hope.
One theory.
Better be taken by the Japanese than be eaten by crabs.
I never knew that. That is horrifying.
Yeah, well, she was probably died on impact, right? But the area they think she crashed at has these basically these crabs that are this big. They eat all kinds of flesh, but they can only kill little bird. I mean, a human can take a crab pretty easily, right?
Yeah.
So, but if larger animals, mammals, die, those crabs will come and they'll literally eat everything. The bones, the eyeball, there'll be nothing. The hair will be left, and that's about it. So they'll take you apart.
I am mortified. That is nightmare fuel right there. That is incredible.
Though I really maintain that the world was terrible until the 90s. If you just look at nothing was really great. Even air conditioning wasn't really perfected until the 90s. Everything was horrible up until relatively recently. You know,
when I was a kid, I do remember that it was. Do you remember back when getting air conditioning in a car was like an upgrade? Most base models were sold without air conditioning. And you might be driving your friend's car and it might be a 110-degree day and you had to get in with the hot seatbelts. And if they didn't have AC, you were just rolling down the windows and driving in their 87 Honda Accord. And it was like, oh, you got air conditioning? Sweet. I remember being excited about air conditioning.
Seat belts were optional when I was a little kid. My parents got a new car. There were no seat belts in the back seat. And I remember my dad asking me, what color seat belt would you like? They had the anchors, but you had to buy seat belts.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow,
that's one that I'm on board with. Basic seatbelts, I'm like, okay, I'm fine if you want to make that a rule. I don't think you should be ticketed for not wearing them, but at least offering them, I'm fine with.
No, I do. I think you should be ticketed for not wearing them.
I'm still mad at my brother because he got the green seatbelt and I got the beige one.
Wow, dude.
You know who else had to choose between green and beige when he was in banishment? Because he had nothing else he could see except for the beige sky and the green shrubbery, was Napoleon after he lost. And I would love to hear about Napoleon. I missed it. But, man, that was such a good, bad movie.
Hey, basically just show such a good, bad movie.
That was such a bad, good movie. You know what I mean?
No, show him the, look, it's just a little lock of hair. That his
What?
daughter, yeah.
I have a piece of Napoleon in the room.
Can I see it?
Okay, so first of all, his stepdaughter Hortense went to visit him on St. Helena Island.
Mm-hmm.
She hangs around. Before she leaves, Napoleon gifts her some of his hair. She writes it down right here, puts her seal, and then right here it says in French, the Emperor Napoleon's hair.
Wow, dude.
Whoa.
Yeah, isn't that crazy, man? That's nuts.
It does something to you energetically when you realize, this strand of hair burned down Prussia. This strand of hair, it's this is...
Well, it also revolutionized...
This little seal here, is this...
That's hers. That's...
Oh, my God.
That's,
dude, Napoleon basically took down the old feudal system. It used to be that only the blue bloods could be the military commanders. And so only wealthy nobles that were landowners could be the military commanders of basically the peasants. And so it was just rich people from one country against rich people from another country, with all the poor people being the ones dying. Meanwhile, Napoleon says, I actually want to conquer. I don't just want to play parliamentary politics with guns. I'm going to promote whoever is the best commander of my men. So he would have generals that were shopkeepers before they joined the army. He would have generals that were just poor people. He had some that were nobles. There was plenty of generals that he had that were nobles, but I know that he gave this baton. There was 12 batons that he made for his top 12 generals, and they would actually hold it in photos and paintings because they were given this by Napoleon. And he was the first to give Jews citizenship. He was like, yeah, don't mess around with my Jews. And they're like, we will go fight for you. Thank you. Nobody's done this for us
he
before.
Was the first one to use crowd control against the mobs by actually just shooting cannons, or was that just kind of hyped up?
There's a lot of English propaganda against Napoleon, for example, that he was short. He was actually just average man's height. I think he was 5'10" or 5'8" or something. But he was I remember he was just average men's height for his era. But everybody acts like he was this tiny, really short dwarf guy, and you now still have what people call as the Napoleon complex and so on and so forth. But a lot of what we think we know about Napoleon is really just English propaganda that's still been filtered down through the ages. But yeah, Napoleon was insane, man. That guy changed the game, dude.
You know what's so funny, though? What was his biggest downfall?
The women.
His ego and his women. Not, his women, but you know what I mean? He was always just so depressed because, his wife was out there,
Oh, that's true, yeah.
And so it's
hey, so maybe it was a good thing that Joaquin Phoenix played the role. You know, he does depressive really
He's
well.
a great. I'm telling you, Napoleon was the best bad movie I've ever seen.
I haven't seen all of it yet, so I can't say whether it's bad.
It was real. It was not good, but it was great. You know.
That's funny. All right, last couple of super chats here, and then we're going to go back to Reid showing off his good stuff. So Grork says, "My sin was a signed first edition of Where the Sidewalk Ends for
Charles
me."
Silverstein, one of the best poets of all time.
And then thinking the first edition of Anne of Green Gables for her would make her happy. Oof. So I think Grork overspent in your bookstore, my man. But it looks like he did it tastefully. And then Grork also says, Amelia didn't die on impact. She was sending radio messages for a week after the crash. Well, who received them?
Well, this says that, yeah, but there were signals going out, but this says that they would track him down, and it was people asking for her. They kept hearing Amelia Earhart, Amelia Earhart. So this is going on 2 days after, and they're just telling people, shut up and don't talk if you're not Amelia Earhart. But like everybody was like participating.
Oh, it's like when you get too many 911 calls because everybody has a cell phone on the freeway, and when there's an accident, you get 50 calls for the same. Interesting. For
Okay,
the
real
same
question
accident.
about Amelia Earhart. Last one, and
Yeah, go for it.
I know she's a big historical figure, but I feel like the elephant in the room for the past 100 years has been like, hey, she didn't make it back. Like, she didn't like.
Oh, well, no, she had other firsts, though. I think she was the first
true.
woman.
Okay,
I think she was the first woman across the Atlantic solo,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
She was the first woman across the continental United States solo. And during the era of like Charles Lindbergh and some of these aviation firsts happening, I believe she was going to be the first female pilot to circumnavigate the globe and actually go all the way around the world. And I've read that the reason why the error was committed, they finally have just forensically dissected all of her records and her trip, was that her and her navigator had not realized they had crossed a time zone difference. And they just simply forgotten to subtract the hour and had flown an hour off course. And so they were an hour away from where the Coast Guard and where everybody else thought they would be. And that's, at least in my limited studies that I've read on several of these articles, what some people I trust say is probably ultimately what went wrong. And that unfortunately that error ended up costing her her life. But yeah, she was also a very media savvy figure. She did a good job of going to the parties, being in the newspapers, you know, doing the celebrity thing. So I think Amelia Earhart is just like a cool national treasure. But
Richard Byrd Jr. That's the real cool pilot we're not allowed to talk about.
is he the guy that found Hollow Earth?
I don't know, did he?
Good question. All right. Second super chat here says, what does Brother Moon do when the airline stewardess tells them he has to check a bag with Napoleon's hair in it?
I take the next flight.
Really?
I've had them try to say, well, first of all, that no longer happens because of my airline status.
Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Because, now it's just like, although I did have I flew out of the Provo airport for the first time.
Okay. Yeah. Great airport.
They hadn't seen a carry-on that was just packed with books because all the alarms went off.
Really?
They ran it through 3 times. And I said, it's books.
Yeah.
And then they take it over. Anything fragile? Yes. All fragile, rare books.
Uh-huh.
Well, we had to check because that's what it was showing it was. And and they were cool. But
Why was a book flagging the TSA?
no, because you get that much is solid. It's showing. There's like, they just see a blob of dark.
Interesting.
They can't, there's nothing. Well, and there was one thing with jagged edges on it that caught their attention.
Do you have it? What was it? All right, I dig it. What is this? What is this?
The
What is
treasure map from National Treasure Book of Secrets.
This? Oh, yeah.
That's all jagged. It's got pointy edges on it, but that is the actual prop from National Treasure Book of Secrets, which is If My Life Were a Movie.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we can make a movie about
Dude, seriously,
Dr. Reid
yeah.
Moon.
Wow, that is awesome, man.
Although I will tell you, like, I go make a pretty cool find, and then I want to study it on the way back. Flight attendants start, what? And before long they tell, and then everybody's surrounding, what is that? And then invariably somebody, yeah, I follow him on social media. And then there's just this, everybody in the plane, what's going on up there?
Have you ever just done a show and tell on the plane?
Yeah.
Really?
For my area. Yeah.
That's so cool. did you already tell the
No.
too scary for
Oh,
because that's my favorite story you've told, and I've heard a lot of the. I mean,
Well, because we're going to do a series on some of Kwaku's New Age predilections here. And so
if
that
you want
is,
to tell it, you can. It's my favorite story you've told.
yeah, I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to. You want to skip it or you want to do it?
I'm fine. Everybody's going to be curious.
Yeah, that's true.
What is,
Okay, so once upon a time, I asked Reid Moon, is there a book like has he ever had somebody asked him about, have you ever had a positive supernatural experience with some of these books? Because obviously he's collecting religious texts and so on and so forth. And he shared some good positive stories. And then naturally that begs the question, have you ever had any negative spiritual experiences with any of these books? And Reid told the following story. Reid, go.
I said, yes. One time a book attacked me.
Yes. Now, okay, here, you guys know I love my early 20th century New Age. I love Alice Bailey, Edgar Cayce, Blavatsky, and naturally you can't know that without knowing about the scariest man, the wickedest man in the world. And
Well, and usually I don't tell people that part, but I saw an Alice Crowley book across the room and I go, oh. And I started walking over, and then it was almost like I was in a bubble, a pressurized chamber. Each step I took was like you're diving and you aren't pressurizing, and my head was about to explode. And I just kept going, and I go, whoa. And then I started, I stopped like further back than we are, 15 feet. I go, I need some electrolytes or something.
Yeah.
I turned around, went down. They had a little cafeteria, got something to drink, and I was fine. And went about buying books. This was at a book fair in the town of York in the UK. And it's a very haunted town. Went there. And then the next day I'm walking around, and one of the dealers said, Mr. Moon, we haven't seen you at our booth. Can I come show you some books? I follow him, go back up. I'm back in the booth. And I go, oh, now I'm going to go back and look at that book. Start doing the same thing. Same thing. Like an invisible wall is keeping me from walking forward.
oh my gosh.
Like I am trying, and I'm going, and I'm starting to put two and two together really quickly.
Yeah.
That book does not want me to touch it.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, I'm done. I said, I don't see anything here that I'm interested in. Goodbye, and turned around and left, and then it's immediately gone. And I go, okay. 6 months later, I hop online to look up the book. As soon as I see it, the exact same thing happens until I shut the screen. You didn't know that part.
I did not know that part. Okay, so
No.
Aleister Crowley was doing something.
On that particular book.
Yeah, on that, but he had some kind of enchantment on it, man, that is. Well, Aleister Crowley was a scary man. When you read his life, I mean, he was doing legit scary, magic from the other side.
Really?
Oh yeah, he wasn't like Blavatsky, or he was probably a fraud. This guy was like really in it.
So you think he was actually channeling some dark energy or something like that, huh?
Well, not to hijack, but he saw the modern typical gray alien as we know it. That was Aleister Crowley drew it before the rest of us.
Really?
Yeah. So kind of the archetypal, big head, the E.T. big head, kind of almond head, the eyes. In the 50s, that's when people started having, getting these appearances and seeing these aliens and these little grays that they called them. And you can find some medieval art also that kind of shows them, which is kind of weird. So there's something going on here. But he drew this this spirit being that came from outer space named Aiwass, Aiwass, and he said this is one of the beings I was speaking to. I think it's the being that dictated him the Book of the Law.
Okay.
Which is, the do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And so and if you look at this picture, and this is before all the sci-fi movies and everything, it is a gray alien looking figure. It's really creepy. Even the drawing of it you see, it gives you the heebie-jeebies.
Wow, okay.
Don't look it up. It'll creep out your audience.
But, okay, because this is the only picture that I know of him. You always see is just like this weird kind of occultic stuff, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's like the goofy one. He was literally doing like down and dirty stuff. Like he would have these like draw symbols on the ground and then invite various men and women over, and they would do the dirty on top of the symbols to usher in like the guy was. Like just if Aleister Crowley invited you to a barbecue, you don't go. Like it's like the potato salad might be good, but it doesn't make up for the weird things that are going to follow.
Okay, cool. Well, we got a couple more super chats here. Let's read those, and then you got to tell us your 3 Nephite story, bro. Like that's the whole reason you came down here. That I was like, wow, we got to do this. Quaku's here now.
One
so
little
we can
thing right before
it.
that.
Yeah.
To me, this also is kind of a testament that like energy stays with our belongings, because if you are collecting these books, which are, like there is energy surrounding these books. Human being, that thing. When I grabbed that thing with Napoleon's hair, I could feel something. I'm like, oh, this is, and maybe it was placebo, but I'm like, this is incredible to be looking at the lock of the man who conquered Europe. There's something about that where you're just like, whoa. You know,
physical objects have an energy.
Absolutely.
Like they do. And I think that's why Don Bradley said one of his best quotes about the ethos of Mormonism is that we have Catholic richness with Protestant sensibility. And I think that's really like that Catholic richness. A lot of that does come from the concept of relics, the esoteric, the candles, the bells, the smells, the liturgy.
And Jewish business and Jehovah's Witness leadership. We've got everything. Okay, I'm kidding.
That's funny, dude. That's funny.
But I think so you having these experiences where you get to have some of these supernatural experiences. That's because you're dealing with a lot of energy from these, and who knows how many spirits have just been inside of Reid Moon's rare books that just
dude. If there's a place that ends up haunted in Orem, it's your shop.
Provo.
Oh yeah, sorry, Provo. Yeah, exactly. That's funny. All right, well, let's read these super chats and let's dive right into the story at hand here, my man. So here we go. Back. We already got Grorks. We already got. Oh, no, actually, we're all caught up. Okay, cool. So, Reid, before we show all the other cool stuff that you brought, you texted me a list of potential show topics before we came down here. And you said, I want to make sure I don't misrepresent your text message, but you said, here we go, boom. Ideas for Ward Radio, my 3 Nephite story. Okay, what on earth? Tell me, go.
Okay, so I said my 3 Nephite story. Here's the thing. I'm not claiming it was one of the 3 Nephites. I will let you judge based on what happened.
Okay.
So I have to go back 45 years ago. I'm on my mission. I went to Bolivia, which a very poor country. I had not seen poverty like I saw there. I mean, it was tough.
Yeah.
My first area, first of all, I lived in Dallas, Texas. I played on the tennis team. Altitude 400 feet. Okay, Dallas, Texas. I went to Bolivia. The lowest area on my mission, La Paz mission, was 10,000 feet to 16,000 feet.
Jeez.
So just imagine Temp. That's an average. The top of Timpanogos was an average area in my mission.
Jeez.
You don't have the red blood cells to carry that oxygen yet. My first assigned area was Potosi, which is a mining town, which is a half a mile higher than Timpanogos.
Jeez.
So you serve your mission in the sky, basically. you are serving your mission in space. Okay.
Okay.
I thought I was in good shape, but I couldn't walk across the room without passing out almost. And I remember getting off the bus, and this man with no hands said, "Caridad," which is charity. Give me something. I didn't even have any money yet, but I felt I needed to give him something. And my companion said, "Believe me, you can't change the world by giving everybody who asks you for money." And as missionaries, it's not our thing,
Financial. Yes.
to do that. And that was kind of my first lesson. In spite of that, occasionally I would walk by and I'd see somebody who needs something, and the typical ask was for a peso, which was the equivalent of about a quarter, which was enough to buy a big piece of bread, which was a meal. And occasionally I would do that on my mission. And a lot of the people were not too shy about asking because they could see, oh, you should be wealthy. You're wearing a suit. Although in my mission, maybe jeans, white shirt, and a tie,
Yeah.
But still, they would say, oh, you can afford it, And it was like, no. Well, I had been out about a year. I had a new companion. We were the zone leaders. And we were walking down the road, and I looked up ahead, and I saw this guy, and you could see the stubs of his knees sticking out. So it was like, oh, no feet, no legs. And he was asking. I reached into my pocket, and all I had was a half a peso. And I thought, oh, that's better than nothing. And so I dropped it into his hat. Took a few steps, and then I heard this yell, "Hey!" And I turned around long enough to see him spit on the coin, throw it down, and say, "That's not enough, give me more." And I didn't have any more. And my companion says, "No, come on, Elder Moon, let's just go. And right then and there, it's like, okay, done. No more. I wasn't supposed to anyway. It bit me, okay. And then it's like it put me in a pretty bad mood. And then it was like, I'm just following rules. No. And people would ask, no, it was just no. And the side cobblestone streets in these little towns, a sidewalk so skinny that only one person walks, so you walk kind of single file. And then there would invariably be a woman with children sitting there asking, that would grab your pant leg. And I remember yanking one time and almost pulling her off, but I was like in a bad mood. I was just like, no, don't ask me, and I was, that was it. Well, the night before, we had tracked out this man who had gone to junior college in a suburb of Dallas. And he said, I learned how to make the best chili. And I do chili dogs. And this is DoorDash 40-something years ago. He goes, you just tell me where you live and I will deliver you chili dogs. And for us, that was comfort food. And it was like, I got to check this out.
Yeah.
And so we called up.
I'd go to South America for a good chili dog,
And we called up and ordered 4 chili dogs. And he goes, okay, I'm going to send you a little delivery guy. He's going to be in almost like a white lab coat. He's like 12 years old. And so I was like, okay. And so we wait. He says, 15 minutes. So 10 minutes, we walk outside. The thing is, in that town we're at, there's no real addresses. There's streets, but if somebody liked a number, that's the number they put on their house. Like
Okay,
there was
yeah,
no
yeah.
sequential anything.
Okay, interesting.
So we were like the third big house past the railroad tracks, dirt road.
okay.
And so we go out there and we're waiting for this kid, and then we can see him 150 yards away. Just this little kid just looking, and he's in a white lab coat. Hey, we're over here. And my companion says, I'll run over there. And so I'm just sitting there watching my companion run over to him, and then, tap on my shoulder, and it's like, oh my gosh, they just won't leave me alone. I turned around, saw this guy, and it's Spanish. And so now he was obviously way older than me, like by 50 years. But I spoke to him in the two form, and, kid, I was like, what do you want? And he goes, I would just like to know where your church is. And then I think, I said, oh my gosh, he's going to go to church and ask everybody for money. And I said, what church would that be? And he goes, the one you go to, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I go, what do you know about that church? And he goes, I don't know if either of you know Spanish, but he said, conozco a su profeta. He used a verb to know, which means I've met. He goes, I've met your prophet.
Interesting.
And I said, and who was that? And who is that? And he goes, Spencer Kimball.
Really?
He didn't say Spencer Kimball. He said, no, I've met your prophet, Spencer Kimball. It's like, what? What do you mean you met the prophet? And then my companion says, okay, you owe me, 10 pesos or whatever. And I said, Elder, this guy says he knows the prophet. He goes, what are you talking about? He goes, why'd you turn your back? Who are you looking for? He says, you literally turned around. I said, why you turn around? There was nobody. I mean, he comes right up to me.
He witnessed the conversation, but there was no physical being with whom you were
physical-
conversing, but you had a conversation with him.
I can still feel 45. That kind of stuck with me, and I wondered about it, and I was just thinking about it. And 3 days later, we're in the marketplace walking on one side, and I'm just saying, man, who was that guy? And then I look, and then I see him on the other side of the road.
Wow, okay.
He's walking, but I can't cut through. But I go, oh, there you are. And he goes, yeah, it's me. And then I tap on, he was gone.
Dude.
Either you're
my-
going insane or
I told my companion, my companion says, are you okay? He goes, don't go tell me you've seen somebody, because that's twice you told me you've seen somebody and you're like talking to him.
And they're going to say it's elevation sickness or something, right?
But by then I'd been out of
Yeah,
gear.
you'd already adjusted.
So
Wow.
So that made me ponder. It doesn't matter what happened.
We're talking about something divine here.
Well, we're talking about something that changed my life literally. I remember that. I've traveled the world. I've been to 52 different countries. I see a lot of poor people, and occasionally I do give, but I have to get pretty much they're okay. And the rest of my mission, I didn't just give a peso. There were 3 times I helped people, and it was like with 50 pesos, 100, literally life-changing for those people. And to this day, and I pass, there's no shortage of people outside of Target, outside of Costco, in Provo, Orem, that are out there. But 1 out of 50, I get like the nod, yeah. All because of that event on my mission 45 years ago of this guy. And I remember in that brief time I looked at him, I noticed he was wearing sandals, but his feet weren't cracked like the other older people, because they weren't cracked. Wasn't dirty, but very, very humble. Almost like a little like a little bag, and a little bit of facial hair, almost Oriental looking.
Interesting.
I mean, if I could do facial drawings, I mean, I could draw the guy.
Now, you say you know that it was life-changing. Did you ever have any positive feedback from any of these interactions, or?
Oh, well, it affects everything I do. It affects...
No, I mean, like, were you able to meet up with somebody years later and they're just like, oh, you know, you helped me start a company, or...
No, that is another story. That's
Okay.
the Marta story. That's the Marta story. This is a 1 minute interaction, and we're talking about it.
Oh, mine was just a generalized question. But yeah, if there's another specific story, we can go into that one too. But
Well, I have so many questions about this.
okay,
So-
hit it.
So one, I know your prophet, Spencer Kimball. That makes me ask the next question, like, is the prophet interacting with the three Nephites? Are they like this, like a little
That's true.
mini CIA?
What-
You know, like
I doubt
do
they're
they
doing
report
a
back?
CIA,
No, but
but-
really, like,
Because there is a difference. There's a verb in Spanish, saber, which is to know something. Like, I know, you would use yo sé quién es su... I know who-
Conocer literally means like I am familiar with, or else I am
like
personally.
I
conocer
know
me.
of, yeah.
I know. Do you know him? Yeah. Or have you been to Barcelona? Yeah. You use, like, it's to know somebody.
yeah.
It means you've met somebody when you use that verb conocer.
And most people, I'm assuming, 40 years ago in not Barcelona, Bolivia, never heard of the name Spencer Kimball. Don't know who Spencer
And they
Kimball
would
is.
say
also the-
Spencer Kimball.
It's
That's
Spencer
what they'd
Kimball.
say, yeah.
Is how they say it. I know your prophet is Spencer Kimball. No. He says, I know. Conozco a su profeta Spencer Kimball.
And then disappearing. Wow.
That double disappearance is very interesting because you're a fully rational guy. You completely deal with the purchase and the sale of all kinds of relics with all kinds of stories behind them that half of them are probably believable, half of them aren't. So you obviously have a solid discerning air about you, right? But then to see it happen again a day later, it can't just be an acute event.
Yeah.
That just happened that one day. And you say you physically felt the touch on your shoulder.
Yeah, that's why, because I remember just being, oh my gosh, they won't leave me alone, What do you want?
Okay, if you had to pick an actor that this Nephite looked like, who is the closest actor he resembles?
Oh, good question.
A very petite Keith Carradine.
Keith Carradine. Hold on. What movie did he do? Keith Carradine.
No, he did Kung Fu back in...
Just type in Keith Carradine.
I may have the name off, but he did Kung Fu back in the 1970s. It was...
Okay, so you're talking about this guy right here, Keith
Okay,
Carradine.
go back. What I may have the name wrong, but 1970s TV show Kung Fu.
1970s TV show Kung Fu. Oh, are you talking about like Kung Fu: The Legend Continues?
No, it's TV show. It's TV show.
Yeah, TV show Kung Fu right here. So
does-
David Carradine.
Oh, David. I said so. David Carradine. Do David?
Oh, this guy. Yeah. I used to watch. He was part of Kung Fu: The Legend Continues. So let me just look up David Carradine right now. David Carradine. And this is our guy.
Oh, right there, over there with the hat. With the hat.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of
I
like
see.
that,
Very
huh?
petite David Carradine.
Yes, like 50 pounds lighter than this guy. Dead ringer.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So
With a little facial hair and aged 30 years.
Whoa.
Interesting. So you're assuming, and the title on this thumbnail, as we talked about earlier, is, three Nephites. There's all kinds of very interesting, whether it's personal experiences or just plain old folklore, as Dr. Christopher Blythe at BYU would collect the story as. There's all of these stories of divine interactions or apparitions. And we do know that, for example, the Apostle John, the Beloved, was, given a special, unique gift to not just die as all the others would and live a long time on earth. There was the specific blessing given to Orrin Porter Rockwell that he wouldn't die as long as he didn't cut his hair. When he died, he was the oldest member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and one of the first baptisms. So obviously there was something divine going on there. And whether or not it was specifically the three Nephites or something else possibly angelic or something else possibly supernatural, you recognize I had an interaction with a person that I recognized could not just be regularly physical. It wasn't a regular physical experience. But you said that if you were to pinpoint what he looked like, you would say 30 years aged 30 pounds lighter David Carradine in this picture as the Bolivian you met twice, and you think the only way I could explain it would be like John the Beloved or three Nephites kind of experience. Is that am I
Yeah.
steel manning this correctly?
Yep.
Okay, wow. Anything ever like that since then?
Before we leave that, when you talked about John the Beloved, one fortunate thing I have is I have scriptures belonging to, I have in my possession scriptures belonging to the first 16 presidents of the church, at least one. Heber J. Grants made a very interesting comment on his Section 7 of the Doctrine and Covenants. Section 7 is revelation given to Joseph and Oliver when they inquired through the Urim and Thummim whether John the Beloved, the disciple, tarried in the flesh or had died.
Okay.
And I just want to read the first 3 verses because
hit it.
it goes, "And the Lord said unto me, John, my beloved, what desirest thou? For if you shall ask what you will, it shall be granted unto you. And I said unto him, Lord, give unto me power over death, that I may live and bring souls unto thee. And the Lord said unto me, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, because thou desirest this, thou shalt tarry until I come in my glory, and shalt prophesy before nations, kindreds, tongues, and peoples." He uses the same verb, desire, that's in all throughout that, and he goes, I desire the same thing.
Oh, so that's a note that he wrote.
That's a note Heber J. Grant wrote.
Is that one of those ones that you can show on screen, or were you not allowed to show that
no,
one?
Here I have Spencer W. Kimball and Harold B. Lees. But
you're saying you've seen it on Heber J. Grant's. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is kind of wrapping up that. So that is something that was on his mind, and he desired the same thing.
You know, it does make you wonder. It begs the question, Kwaku. Like, if the three Nephites existed as we assume they exist in the zeitgeist of Mormonism and basically according to Scripture, they would be the equivalent of like immortal, like Odysseus on Calypso's island. You know, they would be living forever until Jesus Christ decides that they don't need to live that way anymore. Would they have a relationship with modern apostles and prophets, do you think? Like, would the modern prophets and apostles know who they are? Like, what would that look like?
Well, I'll tell you, nothing would terrify like right-wing LDS people who think the church has gone astray more than knowing that John the Beloved and three Nephites are like, yep, it's good, keep going. Nothing would be more terrifying than no, it's exactly what we wanted. Yeah, you guys are good to go.
Oh, dude, that's funny.
Well, okay, so I was looking up right now. I wanted to see, hey, is there any Christian lore before Joseph Smith about John the Beloved still being on Earth?
Okay.
And turns out, yes, Saint Irenaeus believed that John had lived into the 2nd century. Like referencing.
I thought everybody believed that. That's not just a Mormon thing, right?
No, most Christians believe he's dead. We're the only group that teaches that he's alive.
Really? We are?
Yeah, we're the only group that teaches he's alive.
You mean teaches that John is alive?
That John is alive, yeah. Most
Really?
Christians believe that he died in Ephesus around 80, 98 to 100.
So all the people that say that we're not real Christians because we don't have a biblical view of Christianity don't take the biblical view of John the Beloved and being immortal because they just don't view that as possible.
Well, I don't think it's a subject most Christians think about. It's not really a verse like, I don't think United Methodist Church is doing a sermon
most
like,
Christians
guys,
don't think about what animal Leviathan might have been. So yeah, okay. Maybe it's just out of the zeitgeist.
But it is kind of interesting. So, well, because here's the thing. Within LDS lore, folklore, there's people who say, the guy who's dead. You know, when they were building the Hawaii temple, they said Cain walked into the door of the temple in Hawaii. We had to cast him out, and it was Bigfoot. You know, people claim to have met John the Beloved. You know, and so there's always these stories, but usually, like, you know, it's the guy on drugs by the front runner who's like, I was just hanging out with the three Nephites. Like, no, you're on crack cocaine. Like, you're not. You didn't. But when it's a normal person who's like, I have this experience, I can't prove exactly what it is, but isn't this strange? You go, and I'm more likely to believe that. I'm like, oh, interesting. You know, when it's a little bit more. So do you guys all think that John the Beloved is still?
Yeah, I always thought that he's similar to the three Nephites. He's one of the people that has been blessed with immortality because of a unique relationship with Jesus Christ, just like the three Nephites were. And there's only a handful of these people. I mean, there's Lazarus who was resurrected, right? So what's he doing now? I don't know. You know, I guess he probably just lived and died again, because it's not like he was brought back as specifically immortal.
Yeah, but remember this verse, it's pointed unto all men to die once.
Oh, that's true. So but all I'm saying is that you can count on one hand the people that would be candidates for
Why wouldn't they all be
immortality.
hanging out?
Well, that's what. That's another
Wouldn't
thing.
it just be the four saints at this point?
Well,
if
'cause
it's
you would
Lazarus, John.
You've Lazarus,
then
John,
so
three
you got,
Nephites.
you know, you
so
got
it's like the five amigos, and that would piss off the right wing, because then they'd all be brown people.
Yes. I mean, I guess I don't really know.
A
what Lazarus looked like.
Palestinian, a Palestinian, three Mesoamerican dudes
So,
of
yeah.
Jewish and partial Jewish ancestry, and then a Jerusalemite Jew, right?
So yeah, I mean, do you have any? Do you guys have any John the Beloved? I don't have any John the Beloved stories.
Nope.
No. Yeah, he's like, I'm all out of apparitions. Man. You know. Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so did you ultimately confide in your mission companion about this, and did he just think you were crazy, or what?
We did not talk about it after that.
Really?
Nope.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
That's incredible. Okay. Is that it for this story? Anything else, or no?
I think that's it.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. I would love. I got to talk to Dr. Christopher Blythe over at Angels and Seer Stones about some of the three Nephite lore that exists out there. Missions are a very, very interesting and unique place where I think that dedication towards service of others really does thin the veil and make both angelic people or angelic beings and demonic beings very interested in the well-being and the activities of the missionaries. I don't think it's just because of heightened awareness that missionaries have more experiences. I think it's probably because of heightened interest from what other things on the other side are wanting to score more points for their side in the battle between good and evil, right? So, wow, that is really cool. One more super chat, and then we'll just go back to your 9 to 5 pure awesomeness here. Michael I can't read what his username is here, but Michael says the following. Says, is Reid associated with, let me pull it up here again, says, is Reid associated with the Moon Ranch? I'm interested in the Spanish and their historical presence at the ranch. What's the Moon Ranch?
It's where we have the family reunions.
There it is.
If it's the one in the Uinta Basin on like the Duchesne River, yeah. That's a cousin. It's Utah.
Oh, so Uinta Basin is in Utah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So is your family heritage from ranchers, farmers?
100%.
Or?
Yeah. The Moons came to Utah. Well, first of all, Heber C. Kimball converted the Moons in 1837 in England. 1840, John Moon's leader, the first group of saints to come to the Americas. William Clayton is married. Come, you saints, William Clayton, married to Ruth Moon. The Moons were kind of in the background.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
In fact, William Clayton married a second Moon, and then sisters, and then he wanted to marry a third, Lydia Moon, and had to get permission from Joseph Smith, and Joseph Smith said, you cannot marry more than two from the same family.
Interesting. Okay.
But Joseph said, maybe I'll take her. And
Wow.
That's one way of stating it's a plural marriage. But okay.
But she said, all of you are crazy and I'm out of here. Bye. And she left.
Really?
So,
Wow. Okay. Well,
but the Moons came, I think, 1855. Henry Moon had 3 wives. We come through wife number 3, the youngest, the one all the others were jealous of.
okay.
And I believe Henry Moon kept 1 wife in Idaho, 1 wife in Farmington, and 1 wife in the Unibasin. Kept them 100 miles apart.
Okay. Now I've never heard that version of polygamy before, but that's pretty interesting. That's wild. Okay. And last super chat before you go back to your awesome stash here, because we're already into overtime. Grork says, Brother Moon, do you have a particular book or genre of books you're looking for now, or do you just randomly grab stuff you find? It's a good question.
Well, I tell people I know it when I see it. In 2 weeks, I'm going to the UK. There'll be a book fair, 180 book dealers. I don't know what I'm going to buy.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see it, I'll go, that.
Okay.
If I see that Aleister Crowley book there again, I'll go the other way.
Wow.
Because that's where it was. It was at the York Book Fair.
But I bet if you push through and you get it, there's going to be something in there that could change the history of the world.
Dude. Nah, well, hey, if God's telling him through a pressure barrier headache, then that's it right there.
But I do collect a wide variety. I mean, I love finding cool early church history books.
Yeah.
I like Bibles that have a story. Don't have it with me, but I recently got Elvis Presley's Bible.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, and also I gotta say this right now. We were planning to release this on a video, but I mean, I guess if you're interested, some viewer that's watching this, send us a super chat and let us know or whatnot. But Reid Moon has donated to Ward Radio 2 copies of the original Deseret alphabet readers from the 1800s, where basically
First Nephi.
First Nephi was written in the Deseret alphabet. Yeah, it's totally crazy. Like you can't even read it, but there is a whole entire coded pronunciation guide here, and this is First Nephi written in the Deseret alphabet, and he's gifted this to Ward Radio to be sold in our merch store. And we're just going to sell it just at regular resale, fair market value, and obviously all the proceeds are going to go to the mission statement of Ward Radio as a fundraiser. But he's offered 2. He's given us 2 of these books that are going to be put up in the merch store. Thank you very much for the generous donation. What do these go for again? What's the
$595?
$595 is what I should be selling these things for on the merch store. That's okay. We got 2 of them. So yeah, if you're interested.
Well, and if you show them the cover again, they're showing the Salt Lake Temple, what it will look like when it's finished in 24 more years.
Wow, that is interesting. This is so intriguing.
Is it going to be like American Vatican?
What do you mean?
Like the plans, even like on in the future now. Like they're just going to keep expanding Temple Square until it's like American Vatican.
Geez, I think they should. I think that'd be really, really interesting.
No, they should do it in Arizona. We should just take up over a whole city.
Can we just go
like Mesa and just make it?
Here's what we need to do. The LA temple is almost completely empty because we built 7 other temples surrounding it now, and now everybody goes out into the suburbs to their appropriate temple instead of going downtown into where the temple is. But it's on a 22-acre lot that takes up an entire city block in beautiful downtown Los Angeles on Santa Monica Boulevard, overlooking half of the city. Okay. And the temple is the most gorgeous temple in Mormonism. I think it's actually more beautiful Art Deco style than even the San Diego temple is.
I know. Oakland Temple's really is. The Oakland Temple is beautiful.
Well, no, the Oakland Temple is beautiful in a very similar way. It's
all the Spencer W. Kimball era temples are the nicest ones.
Yeah, I love the Oakland Temple. I love the Los Angeles Temple, but everything necessary to the function of the temple could be put to the sides, keeping the big, beautiful grassy knoll, the sides of it, and the visitor center could be moved there. And then there would be a solid 15 acres of land behind there where if we just built a 5-story building with a parking garage, could be BYU Los Angeles. Like, if we need anything more in our faith, it's a BYU Los Angeles, so California families don't have to send their kids out to Hawaii or don't have to send their kids out to Utah just to marry a Utah and then, get swept up in moving to Utah and having your kids there. Californians can meet Californians and we could stay in California.
Or Joseph Smith University. Why don't we have a Joseph Smith University?
Or call it
in
Joseph
Palmyra?
Smith University. Oh, sure.
Put it
The
in New York.
Tri-Staters would probably appreciate that,
Like, why is there a BYU in Hawaii?
Well, because historically we had a lot of success. Like, why are some historically black colleges and universities historically black? Because they were in areas with large historically black populations, and they had a lot of success appealing to that demographic.
It's like, okay, for example, BYU Idaho. Okay, Brigham Young did help settle parts of Idaho, but before it was BYU Idaho, it was Rick's. Who's Rick? Why was her college called Rick for 70
Jonah
years?
Barnes told me that once, and I can't remember exactly why it was, but it was because Mormons weren't allowed to go to the regular schools there. Rick's College was built because Mormons
Why
were
did
prohibited.
they name it Rick's? Who is Rick?
Some general authority,
It's
son?
a stepdad you don't respect. That's who Rick is. Like, Rick, shut up. Why is Rick?
We apologize to all Richards, including our bookkeeper at Ward Radio, Rick Brunson.
I said what I said. I make no apologies.
No, we're totally kidding. So, anyway, yeah, these are going up in the merch store soon. I guess if you want early access to it or whatever, email me at Ward Radio or send us a super chat right now. I've never really done this before. We're just blazing a trail here. But Reid Moon has been very generous, and we're looking forward to that. So, anyway... is Reid Moon associated with the Moon Ranch? Do you have a particular book? And then this one, last one right here says, I think about one of the 3 Nephites. I felt prompted to help this guy. And when he had thanked me, I looked into his eyes and saw his pure soul. I had never felt or seen anything else like that. I don't know if that necessarily constitutes a 3rd Nephite, but it's obviously a very deep and moving and compassionate experience. So
Well, I
I'm
think
down.
People have these experiences that you said it could be, and it may be, but the thing is, it changes your life. Like, you do not forget it, and you remember it vividly, and you haven't had any other experiences like that. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, for those of you guys that just jumped into the live stream, we've had several hundred new members of the stream jump in. Don't forget to like the stream. You are listening to Reid Moon, proprietor of Moon's Rare Books, myself and Kwaku L, talking about all the cool wares that he's brought to Los Angeles. Because he was here for a showing. He ended up coming into the studio, swung by here to show us a lot of his Mormon and North American relics that he's gotten here and educating us on their history. So far we saw Amelia Earhart's, not Amelia Earhart's, but the last broadcast that the Coast Guard did looking for Amelia Earhart on the onion skin. We saw Napoleon Dynamite's hair, not Napoleon Dynamite's, Napoleon's hair, the Frenchman. We talked a little bit about the scriptures of Spencer W. Kimball. What else we got? Just burn through it, man. What else do you got here?
Okay. Here is one of the least. Well, do you remember who these people are? Do you remember me ever showing this to you?
It looks like General Custard, almost like that kind of
who
era.
it looks like, but that's not who it is. This has quite a spectacular backstory.
Looks like some Union soldier and his daughter.
Not just a Union soldier, the first man to enlist in the Union Army.
Oh, interesting.
But nobody knows who he is. I mean, we know who he is, but the world as a whole does not know who this person is.
Okay.
Has quite the backstory. Graduated from West Point number 6, 1847. First service in the Mexican-American War. 13 years later, he's in Washington, D.C.
With the Mormon Battalion, then, who also served in the Mexican-American War, just never saw a battle, right? Okay, interesting. All right.
Go forward 13 years, he's recruited to be like the Secret Service guy for a new president, Abraham Lincoln.
Interesting.
He's recruited to be security. And so he sets up 50 sharpshooters and snipers along the parade route. He rides next to Abraham Lincoln on his horse. Everything goes off smoothly. Flash forward a couple of years, Battle of Ball's Bluff. The North is routed in a battle. It's almost a turning point.
Okay, yeah.
Battle of Ball's Bluff. He's not even there. But when something goes wrong, they need a scapegoat. And they chose this guy who by now is a general for the defeat at the Battle of Ball's Bluff.
Okay.
In fact, they arrested him.
So you say things go wrong. The Union Army arrests him, or the Confederate Army?
The Union.
Okay.
So they betrayed their own guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Congress, to show you things haven't changed, Congress, the Senate, anytime anything goes wrong, we need to hold a hearing. They hold a hearing, and the hearing is pointing the finger at the other general who was there, General Brown, who was actually a sitting U.S. senator. And his senator buddy says, we got to maintain his reputation. The new Secretary of War, Stanton, goes, okay, I personally hate this guy, Charles Pomeroy Stone, because I told him to arrest a farmer who had slaves in Maryland. And you know what his response was? He says, is it currently illegal in Maryland to have slaves? And I said, no. And he goes, well, when it is, I'll arrest him. He's a Southern sympathizer. He's obviously the problem. So they arrested him but did not charge him, and it didn't blow over. And so Stanton says, take him to a fort up in New York. So they whisk him away. And Stanton says, put him in, like, make his life miserable. Put him in like a cell that is 4 feet tall, 4 feet wide, and 6 feet long. And feed him bread and water. And 1 month went by, 2 months went by, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. You know what's happening to your body when you can't exercise? You get sick. Your muscles begin to atrophy.
That's torture. This is horrible.
This is what they're doing. If you go to any record of the Civil War and it says the greatest injustice done by the North during the war was their treatment of this guy right here, Charles Pomeroy Stone.
And nobody knows locked him in a closet.
Pretty much. And he had, an attorney trying to do anything he could. And then finally, after 6 months, Congress presented a bill or whatever that said if any military personnel are being held and they've been held for more than a month and not charged, they need to be released, no matter what the charge would have been.
Yeah, because that's basic constitutional rights.
Yeah.
It's like we have a right to a jury of our peers and a quick and speedy trial, whatever the terminology is.
Yeah, so it goes across Lincoln's desk and Lincoln signs it. Who has to enforce it? Secretary of War Stanton, whose idea it was to imprison him. So he takes that order, puts it on his desk. Have you been to New York in August? You know how hot and muggy it is? And can you imagine being in a little cell with no wind?
That's horrible.
They're just treating him like crap. But finally they say, okay, let him go, because they said, wait, where is he? Well, he makes his way back, and some of the other generals go, dude, where have you been? He goes, I'm just locked up, And they go, well, I need your help. Can you be with me? Who had to approve him getting a new assignment? Secretary of War Stanton, who is now really upset that he's out. And so he makes his life a living hell, just treats him horribly. So much so that the stress bleeds over into the family, and his wife dies of stress. Leaves him with a 7-year-old daughter, and that was almost his breaking point, because by now he's been out like 9 months.
Yeah.
And they're not letting him do anything, and he goes, I got to take care of my girl. Good luck getting a job if everybody thinks you were the traitor. Right?
Right.
So he's without a job. Well, there was a visiting dignitary from Egypt who was lamenting to one of the generals, we don't have anybody to train our troops and everything.
Oh, take that job. Get out of the country.
Yeah, it was just like, and they contact him, and he goes, well, yeah, I need a job. So he leaves and goes over there for 17 years.
So would I.
And they pay him handsomely. And he was a civil engineer. He mapped out Egypt accurately for the first time. He trained their military up to European specs within 18 months. Began work on the Suez Canal. I mean, he's doing everything. There was a regime change or whatever, but they gave him the title of Pasha. I mean, they did not want him to go. But now his daughter's like 25, 26. He goes, she deserves to go back. He never has to work in his life again. He goes back to America, 1883. Civil War's over, 65. I mean, so he's been gone 17 years. Gets a nice place. Daughter's getting to know people. Who comes knocking on his door? U.S. government.
Get out of town.
And he's going, like, what now? And apparently they had no clue what had happened 17 years earlier. And they go, yeah, Mr. Stone, we're kind of like headhunters. We're looking for somebody for a big project. Now, when I first learned this story, during career day when I went to my daughter's school, I told this story. And I said, so now, 17 years later, the government's responsible for your wife dying. You're imprisoned wrongly for 7 months. No apology. You leave the country. You raise your daughter alone. Then you come back and they say, we need a favor. What do you say? And all the kids.
Pound sand.
It's like, no way. Like in unison, get out of here, you know.
Yeah.
How did he respond? He said, all I've ever wanted to do is serve my country. What would you like me to do?
Jeez.
Yeah.
They said, well, we need your engineering skills. Okay. Got a project for you. Has to be done by 1886. Okay. Got these 210 crates from France need to be assembled.
Statue of Liberty?
We want you to be the chief engineer of the Statue of Liberty.
The guy that was tortured by the U.S. government.
Yeah.
And was starved of his liberty, built the Statue of Liberty.
The chief engineer. You go to the Statue of Liberty and there's a plaque. Charles Pomeroy Stone, chief engineer, Civil War veteran that we screwed over and imprisoned. But that's not mentioned.
Wow.
Has anybody done like a documentary on this guy?
No.
We got to.
Okay, check this out.
I shouldn't have said that out loud. Somebody's going to steal it. But
I think we know who.
Anyway, what'd you...
Well, back to, okay, he gets a 3-year project. What is the first thing you have to do? You need a base.
Help.
You need a base.
Yeah, okay.
Because they didn't send...
Did he get the place where he was tortured as his base?
Need a base for the Statue of Liberty. He knows he needs 8,000 cubic yards of stone for the base. You can Google that. You won't find that. The only way that you will know that is if you have the original purchase order for the 8,000 cubic yards of stone.
Whoa, dude. Wow. So that's for the base. Here, let me see that. That's for the base of...
Ordering it's a 1-year purchase order for 8,000 to be delivered.
Yeah.
Underlined 8,000 cubic yards of stone for the base. Now they can assemble it. And over the next 2 years, they assemble it on the base made by Stone. And before the unveiling, they have the first ticker tape parade in New York is Charles Pomeroy Stone, chief engineer of the Statue of Liberty. Why does nobody know this story? Because all those years in Egypt, he's suffering ill health. He dies a few weeks after the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, wow.
And so he never got to go on that speaking circuit.
So it's just thanks for the favor. You're dead now, but we got the statue. And the usual positive news that would circulate after a large thing like that was done, now he's not being able to capitalize on.
And people still just remember him being charged, with treason or whatever. But I personally think it would make a great movie.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
It would
Are you
make a
kidding me?
great movie in the sense that it would show the early time, the Mexican-American War, and then the uncertainty of guarding Lincoln, and then the Battle of Ball's Bluff, and then being imprisoned, and then all of his success and then coming back and basically overseeing the building or the construction of the Statue of Liberty. Final scene of that movie, he's on top, up by the torch, looking over toward Manhattan, and seeing the military fort where he was held prisoner 1 mile from the Statue of Liberty.
Dude, that is incredible.
I feel like he'd get played by Hugh Jackman.
Yeah,
Hugh
for
Jackman
real.
would-
Although I don't know, this guy doesn't look very Hugh Jackman-y.
No, but they'd find a way.
They'd find a way.
I feel like
you,
Hugh
you know who I
Jackman
feel
would-
like he looks like? He looks a little bit like the guy that played.
Pete Davidson.
Oh my
Kinda looks like
gosh,
Pete
that's
Davidson.
funny. You think Pete Davidson? I was thinking the guy that played the amateur, or he played Freddie Mercury in the biopic.
Oh,
about,
I see. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, you know, he kind of looks like this is
Who?
Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis.
Doesn't he kind of look like Shane Gillis?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe
Shane Gillis meets Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, that's funny.
That'd be a great movie.
Wow. Okay, so
So with this General Stanton guy, what was wrong with him? He just stick up his butt? Yeah.
He was not a good guy.
wow, man, that's torture. That's the worst kind of torture. Not being able to stand up. That would drive a man insane. Oh my gosh.
I do credit a lot of the information I got for that from a New York Times article. Like on the weekends they do history, and there was an article called "The Scapegoat of Ball's Bluff," and it dug up all this information.
Oh man, yeah, we got to do a documentary on this guy. It's got to get done. That's going to be super fast. Okay. All right. Anything else, man? We're into double overtime now. We got 8 minutes before a hard out, man. You got anything else cool that we can just burn through? Or do you got that cool story you wanted to tell? What do you got?
I could wrap up that story in 8 minutes, I think.
Oh, well, it doesn't have to be a hard out on 8 minutes. Look, the audience is loving this, and we've always had just more people coming in. I mean, there's already 700 plus people watching right now, so this is awesome. It's a great live stream. Everybody's having fun. So take as much time as you need, but yeah, I mean,
Okay.
got to go sometime.
So this story is more a little. It's a story to show how small decisions can change other people's lives. We're talking some of the most, what you would think, mundane decisions. If we go back to 2004, I was living in Dallas. We had an LDS bookstore. We ran it. And so we sold Deseret Book product. And every year, Deseret Book had a contest. If you increase sales by a certain amount, you would win trips. Trip to Hawaii, trip to the UK. Well, this trip was to Machu Picchu. And
Okay.
But I'd been, and we won one ticket, and my wife just had a baby. This guy sitting next to me right here was like a toddler, and she goes, I can't go. And then I tried to give the tickets to my parents to go, but then they got a call to go to Nauvoo on their mission, and it was a use it or lose it. And so I go, okay, I'll go. But I'm a foodie, and I go, Peru's got some pretty cool food. And my oldest daughter was on her mission, and this is when you could first email. And
Okay.
and so I told her, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Peru. Well, and other backstory, she had just lived in Bolivia for the previous 6 months with her cousins. She spoke Spanish, went Spanish-speaking mission, Washington, D.C., and so she was very familiar with what I did. And I said, I'm going to go down there and, check out the food scene. Well, I got kind of an email that was a bit of a chastisement. She goes, that's great. I love food, but I want an email of you telling me everybody you talked to and shared the gospel with. I mean, she was kind of in mission mode, and
Yeah. Okay.
I
okay.
kind of got
Just lays it on you.
I was like, okay. And she goes, and guess what? I know you have a bookstore that has Spanish copies of the Book of Mormon, Spanish copies of the Articles of Faith. I want you to tell me who you gave those to.
Okay.
I was like, okay. Well, hopped on a flight. The flight went from, living in Dallas at the time, went from DFW to Atlanta to Lima. Well, I sit next to this couple, and I can get in a conversation easily on the phone. What do you do? I sell 500-year-old Bibles. What?
Yeah.
I have a shop. I specialize in old books, Bibles, and so I talked to this, Bible Belt, Dallas. So I'm talking to people, and I had a business called the Antiquarian Bible Shop and an LDS bookstore.
Okay.
And so I'm talking to people, and within 2 hours, it just flew by. And they go, well, this has been the most entertaining flight ever. What's your name? And I said, Reid Moon. And they go, oh, that's so interesting. Our son played tennis in Plano with a young man named Keith Moon. And I go, that's my brother. And, oh, great. And I'm thinking, I've checked off that box for my daughter. I had a 2-hour gospel discussion, on this. So I'm thinking, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
You get down to Peru, we go there, go through Cusco, and then you go to the Sacred Valley to acclimatize a little bit. And you don't go straight to Machu Picchu. You kind of hit some of the other smaller ruins and everything, and that's what we did. We went to a little town called Ollantaytambo. Where were we based? Urubamba. Do you know what Urubamba means?
No.
City of spiders. There were spiders everywhere.
Oh, great.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. It's like, it sounds like heaven.
You're in your hotel room, spiders just crawling up the wall. But it was that Deseret book trip, and there were 75 people on that trip, and only 3 of us spoke Spanish. And so I was like the Pied Piper. Everybody, hey, talk to people for me and everything. And we went to these ruins. It's the only ruins the Spaniards were never able to conquer, because it was like a V, and the Incas could basically shoot arrows and stuff at them from 2 sides.
Yeah.
And so they just said, screw this. And
Yeah,
left.
forget that. It's not even worth fighting in the sky for that.
And so they, we went, it was a little town, and they have a little marketplace at the base. And so we go up, and I'm just not feeling it. I'm just like, I don't want to be there. I have my mind on, I want to go to Cusco, food scene. I just want to go get some good food. I've already checked off my box.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be there like another 30 minutes or so. And so I walked down, and our tour guide had told us about a book they had down at the marketplace that told about, if you looked up on the mountain, they had this carving of this bearded guy. Well, Incas didn't have beards. And the story was this guy showed up during a wedding ceremony, and everybody said, hey, dude, you weren't invited? He goes, oh, I know, but anybody sick? Because I'll cure them, basically. And so he goes around and curing everybody, and everybody's going. And then he says, okay, see you guys. I'm off. And they go, wait, what? No, you can stay.
Yeah.
No, I got to go see other people. And they followed him to the edge of the ocean, and he walked on water. And they didn't have a word for somebody who could walk on water. But they had a word for seafoam, which was viracocha. And so and he was a lighter skinned person with a beard. And so I wanted to go get that book that was down at the marketplace. And so I went down there, and I just went and sat down because I had 30 minutes to kill. And then I'd like to observe life happening. Like, what is the pecking order in this marketplace? Like, here are some booths. There's about 12 booths. And then there's some people that have little baskets. And I was watching this lady in her native dress with a baby strapped on her back with a basket trying to sell stuff. And then a large group, like 15 people, were coming out. And then I saw the people here who had their wares. They ran over and immediately just elbowed and knocked this woman out of the way. And it was mostly men. And they just, get out of here, Baby starting to cry, and I'm going, oh, okay. She's not welcome here, basically. She doesn't have a booth. She's low end of the totem pole. And I go, oh, okay. And I'm just watching. And then she walks over and sits down and then just starts feeding her baby. No attempt to hide anything, just starts feeding her baby. And I was like, okay. And then God tells me, go talk to her. But I know better, so I'm going to tell God no. So I go, no, man, I'm not going to go talk to her. She's feeding her baby. You know, that'd be embarrassing. God has a sense of humor. He goes, did I tell you to stare when you go talk to her? I said, I didn't tell you to stare. I literally hear those words. I didn't tell you to stare. I said, go talk to her. It's like, okay. So I went and sat down beside her, and she's sitting next to me. And I said, I just saw what happened. I mean, the people, they pushed you out of the way. And she goes, yeah, they don't want me here. I'm new. My husband kicked me out. I have a little baby here. And I looked in her basket, and she had that book, and I go, whoa. Actually, I need a copy of that book. And she goes, really? Because that book sold for like 15 solas, which was about $15, and she made like $2. All she had to make a day to live was $1. So selling a book, life-changing for her. And I go, yeah. In fact, I know a bunch of people in my group want that. In fact, I sell books. I have a bookstore. I can help you sell books. And she
Whoa.
And then just to be polite, she had a baby, and I said, oh, I see you have a baby. Is baby having I couldn't tell it was a boy or girl because it just had long hair. And she, yeah, this is Freddie. And I go, cool. And she go, will you be Freddie's padrino?
Wow.
What's a
Padrino
padrino?
means godfather.
Padrino means the godfather.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay.
But I didn't know just how formal and what that entailed. So I said, let's just sell some more books. So we sell 3 books. And then we sell 6 books. And then the people are seeing that I'm selling books because she has to go to the guy who has the books, and she's buying them and selling them as quick as I'm helping her. And then some of the women who also pushed her out of the way came over and said, why are you helping? And her name was Marta or Martha, but pronounced Marta in Spanish.
Yeah.
Why are you helping Marta? And I said, because apparently nobody else is. I saw you push her out of the way. Well, we all have rough lives, you know. And I said, yeah, but you're extra mean to Martha.
Yeah.
And then they go, who are you to help her? And Quechua is the language.
Yeah, Quechua is the indigenous language spoken in the mountains.
And they speak Quechua in Bolivia, and I knew some Quechua. And then they asked me who I was, and I told them in Quechua, I'm Turay Kia. I'm Brother Moon. Kia is moon in Quechua. And they go, oh, you're a brother. That's why you're helping. And I says, yeah, and you're mean to Martha. That's why I'm helping her.
Yeah, rock on.
And then we'll be nice to Marta if you help us sell a book. And so I helped them each sell a book. And then the bus is honking. It's time to go. We sold 9 books for her, like literally enough for 2 weeks, you know. And then I said, can we take a picture together? And I said, I'll send it to you. I said, can I send it to you? And she, yeah. I said, how do I send it? And what's your full name? Marta Choquihuanca Condori. Send it to this post office in this town, Ollanta, Tamaulipas, Peru. And I said, that's your address. Name is it? Yeah. And so we took a picture.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And this is Marta.
Oh, great.
So that's 22 years ago. That's Marta and her little baby.
Hey, and little Freddie.
That's Freddie.
That's a Bolivian picture. Holy
Well, Peruvian.
Peruvian
We're in Peru.
picture.
But
no, but that whole Andean region.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that
you get a
part is just like
nosebleed. You get a nosebleed the second you walk out of the airplane.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
That's the same people going across, you know. But that's Marta, 2004. And then I said, I'll send it to her. I sent her the photo and did not hear from her again. And I went back to Peru, and I always wondered what happened because I started working with Generation Humanitarian, and I took a group back, my own group back, 10 years later. My sister went on that trip, and some of my wealthy patrons went on that trip. And I'm telling them this story, and they go, And now that I'm running the tour, it's like, let's find Marta. And so we go back to the same town. We're kind of following the same thing. I look around the marketplace. It's busier than it was, but I see an older woman dressed like she was. I walked up to her and I said, have you been here long? And she goes, 30 years. And I go, oh, I was here 10 years ago. And I met a woman, I'm trying to find her. Her name was Marta Chokiwanka Condori. Do you know where I could find her? And she goes, she's standing right next to you. And I looked, and Marta is standing right next to me. And I looked at her. She was no longer dressed, but she was dressed more without the local.
Yeah.
And I said, Marta? And then she goes, Kia, which is moon in Quechua. And I said, yeah. And then I said, ¿Dónde está Freddie? Where's Freddie? And she goes, he's about to get out of school. And I says, we have got to catch up, And then she comes back, and now there's a 5-year-old. There's a little girl. And I go, oh, who's this? Amaya. Well, her husband her common law husband came back long enough to get her pregnant a second time and then bailed again. And Amaya had I could tell, a tooth infection or whatever. I said, what's wrong? And then they go, yeah, she has a tooth infection. And I says, can she get it taken out? She goes, we don't have it. I mean, that costs 10 soles. I said, $3? Yeah, we don't have $3. I said, let's take care of it. And they said, I just wanted to help out. But I said, can you go to lunch? And so we sat, and we're catching up on 10 years, and she's been through some tough times and everything. And I said, is there any way we can stay in touch better? Mm-hmm. And are you on Facebook?
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
And Freddie goes, yeah, I know Facebook, and I go, okay, we got to stay in touch. And then our 2 hours are up, and she goes, and then she goes, Kia, I have a question for you. And I'm going, whoa, where's this come from? She goes, I said, what is it? She goes, why didn't you ever write me back?
What?
And I said, I did write you back. I sent you the letters. And she goes, oh, I got the photos. But then I thought I really put you on the spot. And so I wrote you back saying, are you sure you want to be Freddie's padrino? And when I sent that, you never wrote back. That was the answer. And I said, okay, you don't want to be Freddie's padrino. But then after my husband came back and got me pregnant again, and when he left a second time, he goes, I've never seen a 7-year-old want to die and kill themselves because he had no father. She says, I couldn't stand it anymore. I went to our cedar chest, went down, found your hidden photo, and I have a picture of me with her. And I showed it to Freddie at a 7-year-old, and I said, here's your padrino, and one day he will come back.
Wow. Whoa.
And then she goes, Kia, I've never had a dream about you until 1 week ago. I dreamed you were coming back this week.
Dude, I got to tell you, man, South Americans are different. I think God speaks to that those people in dreams a lot more than maybe in Americans are either, I don't know if it's secularized or Protestantized or just overthought or just busy, but our brains are not as receptive as some of the things that people have seen in dreams right before they happened in South America is just amazing to me.
Yeah. So she said, we have never been to Machu Picchu. We scraped together all we might because he's there. We have to go find him. They took a train. They give locals a discounted rate. Uh-huh. They charge foreigners $50 to $100 to take an hour train ride. Locals, it's $2.
Oh, that's funny.
Because they know they're going to pay it. They know they're going to pay it. So they went, took a sack lunch, took my picture, went to the place in Machu Picchu where I took the picture, sat down and waited for me all day. I was still in America. I hadn't gone there yet. And you can imagine a 10-year-old, ¿Dónde está mi padrino? Where's my padrino? And then she didn't give up. She goes, oh, he's coming. So I'm going to go to that marketplace and I'm going to wait for him. I'm going to watch every bus. She had been there 3 days watching every bus, watching every person. And finally, I saw somebody that looked like you, but your hair used to be dark and now it's gray. And I said, that's got to be him. I'm walking up to ask you if you're Kia, and I hear you ask for me.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Okay. So, wow, man, it really is crazy how synchronicity works.
Well, and I mean, if you believe in God, God says nobody else is helping her, but this American's going to go down there and he's not going to want to talk to her, but I am going to make him talk to her.
Yeah. I didn't say stare, you idiot. Like, yeah.
That's
wow.
incredible.
That was 10 years later. And now, but then we started corresponding and then she disappeared. Like, we're talking 2-3 years and I'm going, oh my gosh. And then I get a friend request from Marta Chokiwanka and Dory. And I go, yes. And she goes, sorry, something happened. She goes, I am so embarrassed. I need your help. I needed to hire an attorney because my ex, now that my son is like 12 and can work in the mines, she wants to take him away to be basically an indentured servant. He's done nothing. He wants to take away. I need a lawyer, and it's so expensive. I need $75, like the equivalent,
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. So I Western Unioned it, and then, but long story short, I now see them every year. Freddie is now in his 3rd year of information systems in university.
Oh, good for him.
No, I'm putting him through college.
Rock on.
He's going to break the cycle of poverty. Amaya, the sister, is graduating this year. 2 years ago, I went down, and she said, I wish COVID wasn't over because I have crooked teeth, and I don't want people to see my crooked smile. I said, let's get braces.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're $400 down here, for a complete. So it's just been taking care of them. A couple of my children have been down with me multiple times, but we go down. They're my Peruvian family. And here's the thing. There are other families. I'm only telling you one. But during that trip, I met another family, which even has just as long a story. And I'm still in contact with them to this day. But it was life-changing. But I go down there, and I am the de facto father that they never had. And on Father's Day and birthday, they send me the most beautiful notes, like, you are the father we never had. I literally, with the girl especially, I have the birds and the bees, and basically say, all the boys down here are liars.
Yeah. So mentirosos todos.
You do not listen to
funny.
them. There's nothing they can offer you, and the only thing that's going to derail you is you getting pregnant, basically. And I said, I will. She wants to be an orthodontist. I said, I will put you through college, but you've got to stay away from the boys until you are much older and in college. And so I have a Peruvian family, and it was all because I didn't want to go on a trip to Peru. I ended up going. I didn't want to talk to anybody, and I talked to somebody. It's changed their lives, changed my lives, and you can ask my kids. They're like additional kids, that I feel a responsibility for, all because you get outside of a comfort zone and talk to somebody.
Yeah, you just follow the directions of the Spirit. That's amazing. Wow. Okay, cool. I guess we can just end it on that one. That one's good. I did kind of want to show off the thing. I did want to talk about this. But I guess we're going to have to do that in another upcoming video. But what it I don't know, can I explain it in a short period of time, do you think, before we quit here? So this one's mine that I got personally, but actually I'll just say what it is because I've already talked about it. But what's so cool about being friends with Reid Moon is having access also to his talented artisans, shall we say. And this this is such a cool thing to display right now, because it's hard to come across first edition copies of the Book of Mormon that are full and complete like yours. But there's lots of facsimiles that you can buy, which means modern replicas are made. And there's also a lot of Book of Mormons that there's a lot of Book of Mormons that have kind of been partially destroyed. So there's individual leaves floating around from a first edition when you can't buy a full first edition. And so your talented artisan has figured out a way to actually age the book so that the facsimile, meaning the copy, looks totally aged, but you can put the leaf from the original in there, and like, here's the original leaf. And like, you can't even tell the difference between the original and the facsimile. So instead of just having like one page of a first edition copy of a Book of Mormon sitting inside a plastic piece, just like you have for the Coast Guard there, the Coast Guard correspondents looking for Amelia Earhart, your clamshell or your protective piece is actually a book. So now you can actually read the first edition of the Book of Mormon the way that the earliest converts would have read it also, except for there's like an actual page in there. And so it's kind of a cool collector's way of enjoying a much smaller bit of church history that some would say are most affordable. So Reid Moon actually also donated this to the Ward Radio merch store that we're going to be selling there as well, along with our regular shirts and hats and whatnot. And then obviously all proceeds from that will further the mission statement of Ward Radio. But we thank him for that donation. And I got to say, this looks really cool. Quaker, have you seen this yet?
Yep.
Did I show it to you already in person? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
we were in the house and read.
Okay,
like, hey,
cool.
Yeah,
rock on. Awesome. So anyway, yeah, be lookout in the merch store for some of this stuff. This is a rare opportunity at a really, really cool fundraiser that puts us in much deeper connection with our own church history. Before we get out of here, if you guys want to support the channel.
Were there any more notes? I thought I saw a note.
Oh, more. Oh, shoot. There was a couple more super chats. You're right. I was about to do the outro, but nope. Here's a couple more super chats. Yearnin' for Learnin' says, Kwaku, George Q. Cannon did not cross-dress. Fact check. I don't think it was George Q. Cannon. It was...
One of my best friends is a direct descendant of George Q. Cannon, and they have the journal of one of his wives in which this story is recorded. It is absolutely true. It's just not scanned and put into the church archives. So you were wrong. He did cross-dress one time, we know of at least, so he could attend.
Well,
one of
he
his
went with
wives'
the other
funerals.
prophet that famously did in order to avoid the Fed, right? Or
This happened with a couple apostles, because they wanted to go to funerals or weddings and they know people are after them. What do?
They would dress like their plural wives to avoid detection.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. It's a funny story, but like,
yeah, in retrospect, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
but back
yeah.
then, it was serious as a heart attack. B.H. Roberts had to dress like a homeless man in order to recover Elder Barry's body from the massacre.
Brigham Morris Young was regularly doing the
that was for
cross-dress
theater,
things.
though, which
I
was
know.
kind of more.
People don't realize it. It was kind of more of a common thing back then than people think. People kind of,
Now we just do it on Wednesdays. Like 6 days out of the week, I do not cross-dress. But then there's... Did I say that out loud? Oops. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't judge anybody.
I don't judge anybody. Gork says, does your brother Keith play the drums by chance, Reid?
That's a reference to The Who. Their drummer was Keith Moon.
Oh, man. See, that's Gen Xer humor right there. You see what you did, Gork? Crushing it. And then last question, this will be interesting. Ziploc95 says, do you have any stories of interesting things about Poland? I served my mission there, and for some reason, I feel like you'd have some cool Poland stories or something. It's a special place.
So I was in Poland last summer.
Okay.
I was going through Eastern Europe looking for something. No luck in Budapest, no luck in Prague. Warsaw, Poland came through.
Really? What were you looking for?
I got a vampire killing kit from the 1800s.
Whoa! Wait!
Wait a minute. What?
Yeah, vampire killing kit.
So, okay, when you say that, so was this like a joke gift from the 1800s, or was like a
No.
legit thing?
People who go to Poland, there's a word. I actually did a video on it where I talk about how their superstition today about vampires and Walking Dead, when they bury people in Poland, they will like drive stakes through them or put a sickle across their neck. I mean, so it's a big deal. And that's also Bram Stoker's Dracula came out in 1897. It very superstitious, but Poland did come through on the vampire killing kit. Couldn't bring it back on the plane with me, so last fall I did the video. So you know what there's no Trump tariffs on? 100-year-old vampire killing kits. It came through with no tariff.
There
That's
you go.
funny.
Yeah, how do you tear for that? Yeah.
So, well, here's my question.
Oh, it had holy water, mirrors, crucifix, exorcism manual. It was in a 100-year-old violin case.
Interesting. Now, you say I don't allow them to check my bag when I go
no.
on. Was this? Did you have to FedEx it or ship it?
Yeah,
or-
FedEx. It was FedExed.
Wow, I would never trust FedEx going into Argentina because they open up all the regular Correo Argentino.
Europe coming over was okay. I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't had any trouble.
Okay, I didn't see you knock on wood, bro, and you just bought a vampire knock. There we are. That's a little bit better, you know? So, okay, sweet. Well, dude, Reid, this has been a phenomenal live stream. Like, what a way to spend the end of our Sabbath here than just talking church history, doing some education station stuff here. If you guys like what you saw and you want to contribute to the mission statement of Ward Radio, please consider purchasing some merch in our merch store. We've got not just regular shirts, but we also have the popular War in Heaven veteran hats. And now apparently we're going to have a couple of really, really cool books here that we got from Reid Moon, including a couple that will have an original page from what's it called? An original page from the first edition Book of Mormon. So that's gonna be pretty rad. And on this one, it's got Helaman in there, which is really, really cool. And then we're gonna have two of those up in the merch store, which is pretty awesome. We will also have two of these Deseret alphabet books, which is a really cool and generous contribution. So be keeping your eye out for that. If you also want to help us out and you want to do something a little bit smaller, please consider assisting us with the Amazon wish list as a way of supporting the channel. You can just look up Ward Radio on Amazon wish list and purchase any extra additional items there. Everything from small stuff like replacement cables to big stuff. Somebody bought us a teleprompter screen once. So anyway, there's all kinds of different ways that you guys can support the channel. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. If anybody wants to follow you, where can they follow you, Reid?
On we have a YouTube channel, Moon's Rare Books. We have a TikTok channel, Moon's Rare Books, and we have Instagram, Moon's Rare Books.
Moon's Rare Books, no apostrophes, all lowercase.
Yeah.
Moon's Rare Books, wherever fine social media is better.
And the Instagram is moonsrarebooks.official.
Okay, moonsrarebooks.official. Okay, awesome. Guys, this has been an absolute blast. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you to all of the members that joined the chat. Thank you to all the moderators that assisted keeping this thing going. This was a wonderful live stream. It's been real, and it's been fun, and it's been real fun. For this and more, please check us out at wardradio.com. Now go do your ministering.
I built a rocket in my basement. I'm gonna fly it to the moon.